Hello, hello. Are we live? Yeah, we're live. Hello, everybody. Hello, Mrs. J. Hello, Cheeky Sprite. Hello, Bright. Hello, Indy. Hello, everybody. Yeah. Hello, Age Case. Welcome.
Big ups, man. How's it going? You alright? Everyone alright?
Well, I think we're all good.
They've blocked my picture on YouTube. That's well weird.
Oh, yeah, I can see it. Wow.
Yeah, man. So we're just going to be chatting about loads of things, really, but I suppose getting into the city of London is the main topic.
Yeah, that
Even
is
a bit of
the
Freemasonry, because I think next week's show is going to be about Freemasonry as well. But it's all linked, I suppose.
Yeah, we did a Freemason tour of London the other day. Was it last week?
2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Time flies, man.
You're just seeing it all up front, you know. I live in London as well. We was talking earlier and saying about the seven dragons, the seven pillars in London. So they say it protects the city of London. But it's actually just the borderline of London with the city of London.
I'll get a picture of them up. There we are. One of these, you mean? The dragons that are everywhere. Yeah.
That's it. I must have passed them about 1,000
It's
times.
just like the borders between London and the city of London, I suppose. Yeah. And they're on all like the lampposts and, you know, the little posts that they have lights above and stuff. It's everywhere in the city. But it was all paid for like a couple of 100 years ago. It's all old stuff now.
Oh, there was a guy at the back. I was gonna say, stick your camera on and do something, but you've left.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the topic of the day: what things the city of London have financed. Age.
Definitely.
I don't know much about the city of London. I live in London, but not in the city of London.
Yeah. Most people don't know this. Like, even people that have lived in London all their life, they still don't understand. It's a big difference between the boroughs of London and the city of London. And like, it's not even part of the UK as well. It's got its own laws. Like you said earlier, it's got its own laws. I think it's got 300 policemen.
Yeah, it's got its own police force.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all run by the Corporation of London.
Yeah. Exactly.
When you go into London, that's what it says. Welcome to the Corporation of London.
And we walked through the square, didn't we? Local, that big. There's like a amphitheater underneath. They built it on top of that. Yeah.
You're right, AgeCase, anyway.
I'm good, thanks, man. How's it going? You good, man?
Yeah, I'm all good. Just spent the day sorting out some ghost hunting equipment and stuff like that. Been busy.
Nice.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I live in Kilburn. Yeah. I'll send you this. Right. See the road that you usually come down to come see me local.
Yeah.
Have you not seen the symbolism all above the houses?
No.
Right, when you ride down here, when you come and see me next year, when you come down that road by Iceland, look above all the doorways, mate. They've got little mason marks, mate, but the front of the stones have been chipped off, so you can't see them. So they've
I
got like
haven't.
they've got like a coat of arms above the door, but the front of it's been chiselled off. Someone told me they were masonry symbols.
I found an
Maybe
article earlier actually that goes on about the City of London, its livery companies. They helped to sort of set up Freemasonry in the 1700s.
Nothing would surprise me.
Not, I don't know if it like controls Freemasonry, but they set up sort of side by side at the same time.
What's that? The City of London police let the city workers when they're coked. Yeah, listen, I've seen some well weird things, man, like that.
It is a weird place, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is, right. So see in central London, yeah, the police go around, they've got black and blue Battenbergs on their hats. Sorry,
Yeah.
blue and white Battenbergs. Well, in City of London, they've got red and white.
Yeah.
You know, their uniforms, red and white. They've got a different badge. It isn't actually a Metropolitan Police insignia. It's actually a Corporation City of London badge.
And also, there's a lot of people that say that you got the City of London, Washington, D.C. and Vatican City. They're all like this one thing. I don't think that's true. I think the Vatican and the City of London, they're sort of in competition with each other. And Washington, D.C. is a creation of the City of London.
I'll tell you that, AgeCase, nothing would surprise me. What's going on at the moment?
Well, I think like the USA and the UK, they can't survive without each other. They need each other.
You know why, didn't you? Because they both like to butt kiss one another. And when one of them does a good job, the other one bigs the other one up, and that's the reason why we're always going to be in the United States pocket. Because whenever we've gone to war, or whenever they've gone to war, our stupid so-called leaders have gone, I'll help you, I'll sling some money at the problem, I'll send you all these missile equipment that you want. Yeah, we know the situation.
Yeah. It goes through the city first, and then it goes through Washington, like all the weapons are sold.
Yep.
I think the Vatican is like an old order. It's Catholicism. It's sort of dying out slowly, maybe.
Mate, I'll tell you something. That Vatican's got so many secrets hidden underneath it.
Yeah, they've got secrets. Yeah, and they've got a lot of gold.
I'd love to get in there.
Power.
Loads of different stuff. Things on UFOs. They've even got stuff in there that will change basically the face of history about Jesus and stuff, and they don't want to give it up. You know, things about the pharaohs as well. They'll just totally blast the history books open, but they won't give you it. There's loads of stuff they've got. I even believe that they've got stuff on the UFOs that have landed in it over the years as well. Might even still on the show. Yeah. How come you've gone all quiet, boys?
I'm all good.
I was listening to you.
Is my voice that sexy local, is it? Big boy. Bigger boy.
But yeah, going back to like the first number one, it was parliamentarians in the English Civil War. This is how they took control. The City of London took control of Parliament and the monarchy at the same time.
That Tudor and the Stuarts, weren't it?
No, it was after that. It was after the Tudors. And it was around the Stuart time.
Yeah, Tudor and Stuart. So we're fighting against one another. That's what the Civil War was all about.
Yeah. Well, basically, you had the parliamentarians, which were these guys here, and it was funded by the City of London. They put up first 2 months' payments to all the soldiers, and these are the guys that won the war. Oliver Cromwell, basically, and what they did, he set up a thing called the Protectorate, which was like a 6-year, what would you call it, like dictatorship for 6 years. So,
well, at the time when they were outlawed in Catholicism,
yeah,
and they were trying to have a whole like Protestant state. So like that's during the time when Henry VIII was around. Then,
yeah, basically Henry VIII divorced from the Vatican.
Yeah,
and set
and
up the Church of England, which was funded by the City of London. Henry VIII borrowed the money off the City of London to set up the churches of England.
Because he even had people killed because of it, priests and shit like that.
Yeah. The Reformation, I think it was called.
Yeah.
No, the Restoration called, and the Reformation was when the Catholics tried to take power back with the Stuarts.
Yep.
But this little bit here is where how they advanced the money for the parliamentarian army, like Oliver Cromwell's army. So they raised the money, and then the people of the city, they raised the rest of the money for the army. The new model army. I think a lot of people have heard of the new model army.
Yep. I'm just rolling a TV, guys, don't mind me.
And that was the flag that we had for 6 years under the Protectorate. Also, during this time, there was the fire of London.
Yeah, I know that was all kicking off. That started a bakery, didn't it?
Yeah, all these like basically on this map, all these places were like wooden houses and wharfs, and they burnt the whole thing down, and then they rebuilt the whole city.
It was made out of most of the houses back in them days were made out of wood and basically cow shit and mud.
Yeah.
And it was all pushed onto a wooden frame.
Loads of new laws were passed during that week, which
changed
the framework of the constitution. Well, it's not a constitution, but how like England's governed.
Yeah, but did it work?
Have you heard of the AgeCaseV Act? Where they made all humans were basically dead stock at sea.
No, I'll have to have a look into that one.
Yeah, so we all become like wards of the state.
Yeah, we don't know.
Basically, the government own us.
Government don't own me, mate.
No, they don't own you, bro.
I can't wait to see this abuse that Reggie Sunak's going to get, or whatever his name is. Richie Sunak, or whatever the fuck his name is. Satnav. Mate, he's got one of them annoying voices you just want to drop kick straight in the gob.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't know who it'll be.
I reckon he will. Right, so basically, the way that I see it, between him and Boris, they were the bastards that put us into lockdown. And they were. Boris and Sunak were the ones that played it and put us all into lockdown. So, and he's the one that's got us all into debt. It's the reason why we're having the problems with price of living and all that. So, we'll just see.
Higher powers than them, man. They're just.
Oh, I do as well. But they're the ones. They're the ones. Yeah, they're the pawns. But they're the ones that are pushing it on the people.
Yeah,
they're getting told by powers above, but they're pushing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't stand them, any of them. If I saw any of that lot in the street, I would give them dog abuse, and I'd gladly take the arse whooping off the police and the arrest for as well.
Yeah.
I would abuse them. I'd tell him that I see Carrie, that's Boris's missus, in Leicester Square toilets. I'd give him so much abuse, mate. He'd never want to step out of his house ever again. All that's going to happen is they're going to replace one knobhead with another knobhead. He's going to do just as bad. Hopefully he'll get kicked out.
World economic shills, isn't it? World economic.
Yeah, have you seen what's happening to Biden? They don't even think Biden's going to finish his first term.
No, November.
Yeah, seriously,
maybe
he will be the only president in history that didn't finish his full term. They want him gone, mate. The American people want him gone. He's so woke, it's unbelievable.
I don't know. It's a possibility he could be out in November, but there's also a possibility that they could get Trump before then. Do you know what I mean? It's all ups and downs, and you never know what's what. And
Oh no, that's a big problem with the world nowadays, mate. You don't know what happened. I mean,
that's another problem. The world, all the top what they called media outlets, they're all on like Fleet Street and the Strand and Cheapside, which is City of London again.
Yeah, but they stay within the corporation, mate. The corporation, the city.
Yeah.
Why do you think they've got a way of lying over all this bullshit over the last 2 years? Because they were paid off by the government, mate. You've not seen any people from the press or any of these leading people that run the newspapers getting screwed for it, have you? No, even though they were pushing it.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Because they're all in it together. All of them.
Definitely.
I don't give a fuck about Trump, Jesus Jones. He's just as bad as what they all are.
Yeah, they're all criminals, man.
Yeah. You know, everyone's got. I don't care what you say. Everyone's got a price on their head. Yeah. For some people, it could be a £20 stone of rock. Other people, it could be £20 million in cash. But everybody's got a price.
Leah, it's best if Age answers that. Age, is it still a squad of 5 that head the City of London?
No, it's like a whole council, and I'll get it up.
It's a big constituency of people.
Yeah, there's loads of them.
Yeah, local, is it all right if I promote my life for next week, mate?
Yeah, man.
Right, so guys, I'm going to be off to Rendlesham Forest next week with me and Daryl and Ian Southam. We're going to be going to basically back in the 1980s. There was a UFO landing in Rendlesham Forest. It was witnessed by members of the military. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the place where the UFO landed. We're going to do a flight with a drone. So basically, I'm going to get the boys to stand in the woods with the walkie-talkies, and we're going to see if we can see the drone, the torches from the East Gate, which is where they say they claim they saw it from. And then what we're going to do is we're going to spend the night in the woods because it's haunted. We're going to do a few flights with the drones. So basically, what I'm going to do is when the UFO took off and left, I'm going to do exactly the same flight path as that did. So you'll get to see exactly where the UFO went to. And then I bought a lot of ghost hunting equipment this week, and we're going to be using that to contact whoever's out there, dead, ghosts, spirits, whatever. Should be good. But keep an eye on my community tab for verification of what date we're going there, guys. It will be at the beginning of next week, hopefully.
You know, you have to say something about the notifications. I checked my analytics the other day, and it said out of the 8,000 subscribers that I have, only 1,200 of them have the notifications bell on.
Did it say my name in there? Did it say go and blame your friend indiemedia.com? He watches your shit, but he ain't subscribed. All notification bell turned on.
I have a little more. But yeah,
share this screen in local, man.
Yeah,
I'm subscribed to local.
Going back to that last question that someone just asked. Yeah, it's a really complicated system, man, how the City of London's run. You got the livery companies, and then you got the Court of Common Council, which is run by councilmen and the aldermen, and you have to be a freeman of the city in order to like get in this club. And it's insane. You have to be rich. You have to be like of a certain privilege and certain family to even like get a shot at getting in this club. It's basically a rotten borough, and our rotten boroughs, the British, we got rid of it in like the 1890s. Everywhere used to have these sort of like rotten boroughs where the people would never get a vote. It's the same in London. It's the only place in the world that still has a rotten borough.
Yeah, guys, I shaved off all my hair today. Look.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I have a fuck, mate. Took me long enough to grow it. I'm not going to shave it off yet. I am going to do it for charity at some point, though. Gonna find a worthy cause and shave it off. Gonna get it a bit longer first. Get Susie to attack me with a pair of shears. She'd love it.
Yes, Indy and Age. So London and what have they financed?
Well, at the moment they're financing the fucking Ukraine, aren't they? And they finance anything that's corrupt and bent. So, you know, you could say they finance a lot of things, couldn't you? Because us in the USA, we're the ones that are pumping most of the money into that so-called war at the moment. You don't see anybody else giving them billions and millions, do you? And sending them over missile systems and shit like that. No, leave it to the muggy British and the stupid Yanks.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, man. I don't vote. Not really interested in the politics. But Age,
yeah.
Age.
Well, the second part is the slave trade. After they took control of the Parliament and the Crown, basically if you share the picture I've got coming up, they basically set up all of the contracts and financed the ships to set up the transatlantic slave trade. This is why they built Bristol and Liverpool and all these big ports.
All big docks, yeah.
But the first plantations was in Northern Ireland. Basically, the Ulster plantations. There was 400,000 immigrants in London, and they moved them from London over to the plantations and
plantations and shit like that.
Yeah.
I was watching something on that the other day. Age Case.
Yeah. So from 1607 until it was like 1780s or something. It's like 180 years. Yeah. 55 livery companies were part of this. All in and then they also moved a lot of people over from Scotland as well. And they were like the more upper class. They had a bit more privilege than the immigrants from London. So they got all the land after, like, slavery ended. They gave all the land to the Scottish, and they became the Ulster Unionists, which we have today.
Yeah,
they're the ones that are still fighting for Northern Ireland to exist. But
spot on, mate. Basically, really. What happened was they gave all the land in the 7 counties in the north. They gave all the land to all of the sort of people that had been indoctrinated into the British government, so to speak, because all the lords and that went over there, and they were the ones that took the land.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's basically
that's. They did the same thing in America.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. But in America, they did it in like 2 or 3 ways. They sent over loads of Puritans, like these Anglican Christians.
I know what you're on about.
To try and convert all the Indians and the Africans into Christians. And also they financed the plantations in like Virginia and all of the East Coast.
The Spanish did the same with the Americans, didn't they?
Yeah, they did it in the West Coast, like.
Yeah, they took all the gold and that off of it. Yeah, they took all the gold and that, didn't they? They tried robbing all the Aztecs and the Incas and that.
Yeah.
You know, that's another thing I was watching the other day. My missus says the stuff I watch on TV is boring. I'll tell you something, mate. I get so much good ideas and so much information off of YouTube. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I'll sit there and I watch it all day, just binge watch crap. It's great.
When was the first church built in the city of London?
Oh, I don't know. That's a hard one. Do you know what? Back in the day when the fire in London happened, there was a church on most like 2nd or 3rd street corners back in the day.
Yeah, I was going to say the guy that redesigned London, he built like a church on every other street or whatever after they rebuilt it, and they were all Church of England.
Yeah, CV.
And they're still all there today, like Most of them are not even open.
No, some of them ain't. Some of them just lie there. They're just an empty shell, mate. They look all okay from the outside. When you go in, it's just a shell, mate. Right, boys, I'm going to jump off. I'll leave you to have your open panel. Thanks for having me on. Cheers for letting me promote my lives next week. AgeCase, me and you're going to have to meet up at some point and go and do something, mate.
Yeah, man, definitely. Maybe try before it gets cold.
No, because I want to get out with the drone as well, innit? I've got a few bits and pieces I want to do. If you're into ghost hunting, mate, we'll go and do a ghost hunt, everyone.
Maybe September or October or something.
We need to find a nice abandoned building somewhere that's fucking scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I go out next week, I've got a night vision scope, mate, so I'll pity anyone that tries sneaking up on me. They get clocked. Yeah. Right, boys, I'll catch you later.
All right, man. Indeed. Man. Right. Be safe. Yeah, check out Indy. He'll be live next week. Ghost hunting. Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. So the slave trade in the Irish and US plantations.
I'll share this little screen quick. Here it is. Like a few years ago, I think actually it's where Black Lives Matter, right, kind of came out of this as well, which is why I think Black Lives Matter is another like setup. But they had a lot of people protested about all the statues they had to slavery, and they had to get rid of all of them in London and build these new things to honor the slaves. But it's basically all just paid for slavery. And yeah, this is where we went, wasn't it? This is the main square. That's like they say that's the heartbeat of it all.
Oh, what? Is that where we met up? No.
Yeah, this is where the Common Council meet. Now, what the Common Council was is after, I think, 1215, the Magna Carta.
Right.
The City of London basically got privileges from the UK, so it's separated and it doesn't have the same laws or anything like that. And or even before that, it was a commune, but that, like I said, it separated the City of London from the UK, and the Queen or the monarch can't just enter the City of London. She has to do this ceremonial thing every year where she like knocks on the door, and then they allow her to come in, and then they do business. This has been going on since, I think, 1215. Yeah, the ancient liberties of the English people. Or, as the Russians call it, the Anglo-Saxons. I think that is, it's like a slur that the Russians use, the Anglo-Saxons, is the City of London and the Washington, D.C., because they know that that's the seat of power, and they're the ones that they need to destroy.
That's it. London, the City of London.
City of London and DC. But I think DC is so protected, which is why I think 9/11 was a lot of bollocks, because, you know, that square mile around DC is the most protected square mile in the world, and then the City of London is probably second to that. So how 9/11 or NORAD stepped down that day, I don't know. But that's another subject. We could do one of them shows another day. I bet we'll get loads of people come on for that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they also say that it's the third House of Parliament. It's a nickname that some people call it. And even in like the 1640s, it was like the third House of Parliament. They were actually getting involved in changing laws that they didn't like.
They've got a different mayor as well. They
Yeah.
call him they call him the what was it? The Right Honourable
Lord Mayor of London.
Lord Mayor of London. Yeah.
Yeah. Not just the mayor of the civic mayor of the boroughs of London. That's a different title, yeah. And apparently, to be the Lord Mayor of London, you only get it for 1 year, and you have to pay for everything yourself. You don't get paid for it. So you have to be really rich to be like the Lord Mayor of London, the Right Honourable.
Don't you get to live in the is it the mansion house?
Yeah, you get to live in the mansion house and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you have to accommodate yourself.
Like financially, yeah. For that year, it's really weird tradition. And see what they did is in, I think it was the 1640s again. The City of London they created this thing called the Commons. Like the whole world is called the Commons, basically, and they separated and parceled it all off into land. And then mostly the like the aristocracy and the rich kings of the world, they basically just snatched it up like quickly. Yeah.
JJ Stones.
Like the Commons. What's that?
JJ Stones has a question. How can you make contract when you are just born?
How can you make a contract when you are just born? You can't really. I think what is it? That tacit agreement within the AgeCaseV Act gives you 7 years. And there are some people that have done it. I remember there's a guy on YouTube called the Bernisson or something, and he says there's a few. They've got their kids like passports without having to have a birth certificate or register their birth. But yeah, that's another subject we could possibly do one night, is common law and all that, and I do know a few people that know more about it than me. I don't particularly know too much about it.
To ask a few auditors about common law as well, what they think of common law.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another minefield of information. Do you know what I mean? That I just don't know too much about. I've tried to look for like the main power of it all, which I think has always been the financial system. And it's like nowadays you get the top families like the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, and there's loads of them, the Waldens. And what they do is they all put money into companies like BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, Berkshire Hathaway, and these companies, then they all buy each other. So they all own each other, and then no one knows who owns these companies. And then these companies own Apple, Google, Microsoft, everything. Like they own all the companies, and then all the smaller companies are owned by the bigger companies, which are owned by these. Yeah, so they have a foot in like almost everything. There's documentaries about it. I've even put them on my channel and shit. I think a lot of people have heard of BlackRock, but yeah, it's just the same sort of rich families that are hiding behind these companies, and then they'll have like foundations like the Rockefeller Foundation, the Bill Gates Foundation, and these are like charities, but it's just basically coercing a world order in their favor so that they get even more richer, and that their like generations carry on the power forever. It's just like bloodlines, isn't it? I suppose.
I keep hearing the debt. You know, we don't really need to pay the debt back. You know.
Yeah. I just
There
try
is
not
no
to
debt.
live in a life where you get in debt.
How can you live if you've got a printing machine that prints money? How can you be in debt? You know?
Oh, it's a complex system, man. It's a complex system. I suppose it's like you got to base something that holds worth, and they're basing it on the worth of the futures, like basically. Whereas years ago they used to base it on gold and all that, but because there isn't enough to support inflation for all the people that keep like being born and blah blah blah, then they had to stop the gold standard and move on to like just creating it out of thin air and backing it on the fact that there's more and more people being born, but they can just print it and print it and print it out of thin air as they need to. Debt off us whenever they want. I think they call it modern money mechanics. Modern money mechanics. That's another mine hole. Went down that mine hole and got into all the fractional ranking and all that shit. Yeah. It's long.
Batman had a question for me. If I've experienced any difference with the London police and the City of London police. You know, I'm not too sure. I'll let you know in the future. Yes.
I can't say. I've never experienced either.
I treat them all the same.
I got stopped once for I was smoking a joint, but that's about the only time I've ever experienced the London police.
You was there when the security stopped us outside the Rothschild Bank. That's how it was. Is it the Rothschild Bank? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I deal with the police. Like anyone in uniform.
Yeah. I deal with them like that when I need to, man.
Yeah, but I don't really know.
I kind of I stay low key and in called conflict. If you know what I mean. If they step into your space, then definitely. And I suppose it was good of you to exercise your right to like film wherever you want, innit?
Oh
and
yeah,
it's their exercise to defend that building. Well, that's their job.
I think the only difference, Batman, is that there's more guns on the police in the City of London than there are the normal police around London. That's the difference that I see. More guns.
That's mad. Be interesting to know like how much army is around London or in London. That'd be interesting.
So the city, how come nobody's talking about the City of London having their own tax code?
There was a few years ago. You remember that Occupy movement? They started. Do you know where I met you? Paternoster Square. They started in there outside the what you call it, the London Stock Exchange. They started protesting out there, saying, you know, why is it still a rotten borough? Why are they extending votes for like companies and not people? Protesting a lot of things, and then they shut Paternoster Square off for a whole year, and all these people from Occupy moved to St Paul's Cathedral, and they were protesting there for ages. And but yeah, that was a while back.
So,
But since no one really questions the city, because just so many things been going on, Brexit, and then the pandemic, and then you got the Ukraine war, and then you got the rising costs of whatever bollocks. It's just like a continuous shock for people, where everyone's always having to like try and save money and food and shit. And yeah,
how
so people ain't got time to like try and think about this shit like the City of London, you know?
how does Brexit affect the City of London?
They've done really well. Like Great Britain has done really well.
What do you mean?
For some reason, because they've been trading on different signed the agreement with the EU. You know, the City of London was never part of that deal, so they called their own shots, and it was always that way. And I think Brussels and I can't remember the other city that the EU use. You got and The Hague. I can't remember now, but it's another financial city that they use. They always like knew, you know, the City of London was not part of the EU. So I think the city, I think this is just theory of mine, but I think it orchestrated Brexit and used the Conservative Party to do it in a way. Yeah. They orchestrated like 20 odd years ago. There's people that have like accounts from the Camelot organization, it's called, and they like reveal like evidence of stuff. And they revealed that there was in like the Common Council in the City of London in 2004 and 5, like about how to deal with certain situations that they're gonna do in the future, like Brexit and yeah.
Yep. We've had 500 years of this shit. We're still going to have another 500 years of this shit. And only in the last 130 years, 150 years, it's just getting worse now.
What's getting worse?
Well, looking around, food prices are going up. I've asked my mate, he's living by himself, how much is this gone up and how much is that gone up? And he's got an answer for everything. He hasn't got an answer. No, it hasn't. Nothing's gone up. Nothing's changed for me. Is that going to continue? And then after a few months, once everyone's used to the high prices, that will be the new norm, you know.
Yeah, I think so. And then there'll be something else to, yeah, a new problem.
Yeah, and then more problems. Yeah, I think it's best if we don't vote, and then let's see what happens.
There's be enough people. I think that's how they always like keep getting in power.
Do we need to vote? You know, everything gets done in the city of London, so does our vote even matter?
I don't know. I suppose it does because they've got this great hold on the financial system, which controls all the other industries. So yeah, in a way, it does. And they set up all these other stock exchanges like New York and Hong Kong, Singapore. I think Dubai was another one. And there's even like the question of like American independence, because they got independence in, I think it was 1776, but in 1811 the Americans like it's called the first chart, cancelled it, and what the British did is they invaded America from Canada and they totally destroyed everything in Washington DC. They burnt like the central bank, they burnt the White House down, the Congress Hall. Actually, they don't really talk about it, especially Americans. They mention like that the British invaded them like 30 odd years after they gained independence. Did they set up the Fed as well? The Federal Reserve. You know, the Federal Reserve.
Well, millions of people died just so that we can vote for a puppet, you know. Wow.
Yeah, like a big reason why there was 4 immigrants in London 1600s was because all the lords and the ladies and the landowners, they shot off the lands in Great Britain, and there wasn't roads to get anywhere, so no one could get anywhere. So a lot of people just got to London, and London got bigger and bigger, and it became like, so that's why they moved a lot of them over to the slave plantations. So that's another thing that gave us the right as well, is they gave us the right to buy houses and vote, not vote, but have a bit more of a say in what we can do, which is not much really, because it's still controlled by the aristocracy and the hereditary born into it. There were the rich motherfuckers. Not even Boris and all that. They're not even part of that aristocracy. Their families are just sort of work that.
Hello? Age, have we lost you?
Yellow. No,
Oh, you're still there.
I'm
Yeah.
still here.
You cut out at the last part.
Did it? Oh shit. Can you hear it clear though?
Yeah, it's fine now. We got you back. Sail Away says, when they control all parties, democracy becomes an illusion. Just different paths to the same destination.
Yeah, exactly.
DeWitt, he
Yeah.
says, each generation fighting the same battle to gain a little progress for the next generation, while the rich pull the ladders up behind them.
Yeah. So they all get richer and richer every generation, and we all kind of
And the poor are
stay the
getting
same.
poorer.
Some of us might get rich a bit, I don't know, but they're in like a league of wealth. Wealth is different. Wealth is like fucking 100 acres of land and you're a lord before you're even born, like kind of wealth. But being rich, it's like winning the lottery or setting up a business and getting rich. You can lose that money or have it taken off you at any time. And that's another thing, like you've seen with like all the rich billionaires, they've had all their properties taken off them in England and like their yachts and shit like that. So they can do it to anyone really, if they want. Anyone that don't fit the bill. And that's why I was saying when we was walking past the city, the Bank of England the other day, I bet they've got like 3 or 4 floors of like vaults and servers where all of our money's on in these servers. So it never actually leaves the Bank of England. It just goes around in a system like, I think there's 200 banks pegged to the Bank of England through. Yeah. So any one of our banks are like in there.
I heard the Bank of England holds about 3 trillion worth of gold.
I don't know about 3 trillion. I don't know though. Probably a lot. Probably a few hundred million like pounds. Good to go in. There was a museum as well at the side of the Bank of England. It'd be good to go in there.
Oh, it was there?
There we go. 400 gold bars. 200 billion pounds worth is kept in the Bank of England.
Oh, what is that now?
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know what's the point of that gold sitting there, really.
When you buy gold, virtually, you don't actually have the gold on you. It's just sitting in one place. You're buying it, you're selling it, but it's not even moving.
Gordon Brown sold a lot of the gold off. They called it Brown's Bottom. I think it costs a lot. He tried to, well, he basically, they reckon he saved like American companies like Lehman Brothers and a few other like from going bankrupt, which would have like bankrupt the whole system and all that bollocks. But I don't know. It costs the UK taxpayers a few billion, and we haven't got that gold now. Gordon
So
Brown
what
was
the
supposed to have
UK?
sold it all. I don't know if he sold. I don't think he sold it all. I just think he sold like a big, like 10% or something. It was a big chunk. He sold it off cheap. Yeah. So we've been going for 55 minutes and we got 33 likes and it just said 33 watching.
Oh yeah. Oh,
So put
there's something going on
ones in
here.
the chat. Yeah. What's that thing I posted earlier? I'll try and find it quickly. It was about Freemasonry and how the majority of the councilmen in the city of London, they're all Freemasons. Like, but I think you have to announce it now that you are a Freemason.
What is it? A video?
No, it's just like a law, or it's just part of, you know, most people in the city of London are Freemasons. Like,
Yeah. There's currently just over 7,000 inhabitants in the city of London, living in London, in the
yeah,
city of London.
and then there's about 300,000 in the day.
Before the Great Fire, there was around 120,000 living in the city of London.
Can anyone walk into the City of London buildings? I mean, we went into the main square, didn't we? And there's a museum, but I don't know if you can just go into the council, like the council hall, I think it's called. I don't think you're allowed. That was a question by Leah.
If anyone's got 80 million, yeah. Email me if you got 80 million, guys.
80 million?
Yeah, 80. That's how much a bit of my soul's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be like, I'll share it out, you know, so I'll make it public, my soul, so then everybody can buy a part of my soul.
80 million.
80 million though, yeah, that's as low as I go. Yeah, I'm just having a look at the list. I think we've covered most of it.
Let's have a look at the list. Tax havens, yeah, that's a big thing. Well, the Glorious Revolution was when the city basically, they paid these lords, 7 lords. They're called the what are they called? Fuck. The Immortal 7. And what they did is they wrote a letter and they organized that the King of the Holland would come over and be the King of England as well, William of Orange. And he landed in Portsmouth, I think, apparently. And then they traveled all the way across the south, basically like throwing parades all the way. That's why it's called the Glorious Revolution. And then they took the crown from Oliver Cromwell's son, because Oliver Cromwell had died by then. And this was all set up by the City of London so that they could basically control the Crown and Parliament and the Empire and have their privileges held forever, basically, or as long as they can. And then they made every single monarch after that was ceremonial, basically. They took all the divine rights of power off the monarch so that they can't make any laws. And like the Queen today, she just signs laws, can't change anything, can't do anything. It's just pointless, even having a monarch, really, I think. And that was all from 1688, the Glorious Revolution. And that's when they set up the tax havens in like Barbados, Gibraltar, Guernsey, Jersey, Hong Kong. Can't even name them all, but there's loads. And it's where people like rich people, they hide all their money.
Yeah.
In little snidey companies.
But can't look, we're talking about the City of London and how they've got their own tax code and all of this and all of that. So can't I hide my money in the City of London? You know?
Most of these banks, they're like, you've got to have a minimum amount of money. You couldn't go there and try and hide like a few grand or whatever. You got to be like, and I think you've got to be working under one of the livery companies, which they control like commerce and industry. Well, let me have a look at the livery companies. Names of them.
Because I looked on them. I looked on the map of London, and it shows the London Borough highlighted, but then the middle part is not highlighted. So it's not a part of the land, you know. So then it's another country, basically.
Yeah. Check this picture out here that I'm sharing.
Yeah.
Oh, what? It's just moved. Right, let me go to that. You got the mercers, the grocers, the drapers, the fishmongers, the goldsmiths. Go on and on. I don't really know any of these. What they are? Ironmongers, vintners, cloth workers. Yeah, it goes on and on and on. There's hundreds of them. Chartered accountants, builders, merchants, marketers. Yeah. They're like at the top of their game in a lot of these fields. And most of these will like be sort of in government as well, and in civil service, and even MPs maybe. And they'll all have their own Mason lodge as well. Each individual one will have their own individual Mason lodge.
Yes, you can't have a drink. Apparently, you can't have a drink if you're lower or higher than someone. You got to. They've designated pubs for each rank around London. That's what I read today. I think it was. So.
Yeah.
No. Owen Media 911. Hey, Age Case. I've missed your sexy voice. We know who that is.
Oh yeah.
We know who that is.
I have no idea. But this is Bond, James Bond. Right.
Just from that one comment, Owen Media 911. We know who you are. We got ya. Just from that one comment.
We got your son.
Yeah. So this week, tonight we covered. This evening we covered the City of London. So next week, we're gonna do a few shows as well. Every Thursday for the next month. Yeah. So like 4 or 5 shows.
Freemasonry next week.
Freemasonry.
I've got another picture, but I haven't quite finished it yet. Yeah, look, I'll show you. I'll share it with you. I was working on it earlier today for next week, but I just need two more questions. Maybe Token can help me on that, because I know he knows a lot more about Freemasonry, and we can like dig into it next week. Like we dug into it the other week. We was going through all of the the sides. You've got this side, which is like the royalty. Where is it? This side. And then you got this side, which is like the 33 steps going up, which is more like politicians. And then in the middle, you've got the rainbow ladies, and yeah, different steps of like the Masonic thing. Yeah, we should go through that and show some of the pictures of when we went there last week to like the Grand Lodge. And you know, the architect of that building that we went to is the same architect of the Bank of England as well.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. But a lot of it was destroyed in World War II, so they had to rebuild a lot of it. So a lot of his architecture is not there anymore, but still, it's still.
Even during the Great Fire, you know, a lot of buildings were demolished and rebuilt. Something new was rebuilt on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole thing went from just being like rundown wharfs and building stockyards and industry, basically a lot of industry, and it all got burnt and destroyed, and they rebuilt it into like the big sort of buildings that you see today.
What happened
Not
with
the skyscrapers, but the what's that?
How did it start? The Great Fire lasted for 5 days or something like that.
Yeah. They reckon it started on Baker Street, where that monument is. They reckon it started on that street and just spread like wildfire, because everything was made out of wood and it was all dusty, and it'd been there for years, and like all the houses were close together, so it just went up in flames right quickly, like the whole city. And it's even like they tried to blame some Vatican like agent. There was a plaque somewhere. I tried to find it, but I couldn't find it on the map. There's a plaque somewhere in London that said that it was all done by a Vatican agent, but I don't think it was. They built the British establishment after the City of London was like burnt down. They rebuilt the whole thing, right? And then they built the whole of like the City of Westminster and the House of Lords, and they totally built all that after the Fire of London. So it's, you know, it just makes you think it was all in their interests.
Yeah, maybe the fire was intentional.
Yeah, it definitely
so
was.
that they can burn everything down and then restart.
Like Clarice Starling said, it got rid of the plague and the common people. Basically, yeah, a lot of immigrants were there, and it was just overpopulated, and they wanted to get rid of that and move them out of the city walls, the city limits sort of thing. And that's when they started building all these estates out in London. Like
when we was out on our,
I wouldn't know where, but
when we was out on our tour few weeks ago, our Masonic tour, we stopped at the lights, and you said where this road is was a wall. What wall was you talking about?
Most of the wall's gone now. I think there's only about 5% of it left. The rest of it's like just roads now are built on it.
Yeah, what were those walls for? What were they trying to? What were they?
To stop the royalists getting in the city at one point during the Civil War, and also I think, who was it? The Normans built it to stop someone coming in to get it. I think it was the Vikings or something.
Oh wow!
I might be
Many
mixing
years
my
ago.
timelines up, but yeah, it's been like rebuilt a few times by the Romans and then the Normans, and yeah. But the Corporation of London has always been there since like 42 AD, so it's like nearly 2,000 years old. And then it became a commune in 1100s or whatever. Yeah, shall I have a look? Parts of the Roman wall. Let's have a look.
Yeah, man.
There are like people that have done walks and talks on it. Look for it on YouTube and that.
Yeah, I was watching some of them today. It's
We
really
even
good.
went.
Just watching them, seeing what's on
We
my
even
board.
went in one of them, didn't we? The first time I met you, we was in that like churchyard. I think that was part of the city wall.
Oh, okay.
I'll share this with you quick. Yeah. So yeah, there's still parts of the wall. Not much though.
Oh, go check it out.
Yeah, you'll be able to find some places. But most of it's gone. Yeah, there is a Roman temple under the Bloomberg building, yeah. And they had to preserve it and just build the building over it.
Yeah, I think next week's discussion, I think we know a bit more about the Masonic stuff.
Yeah. I think, yeah, more people can chime in then. And I'll share a video quick of you got all that Occupy movement back in the ages ago, doing talking about the City of London, and there's a film here. I'll share. Where is it? It's like an hour and 10-minute long though. It's a good documentary about the City of London and what it's all about. There you go. I'll put it in the chat. Yeah. The Vatican's only like, I think it's only 100 years old, isn't it, or something? It's not that old. obviously the Romans were around before then, but 1929, so it's 92 years old. So the Vatican's quite new. That's probably just to like hide all their secrets behind a brand new state, and no one would ever notice. And like Indy was saying earlier, I bet they've got loads of secrets down there and of loads of different things. Like the Alexandria libraries, I reckon they took a lot of that shit. And it's stored in the vaults of the Vatican. Do you know much about the Alexandria libraries?
I've heard of there's a vault, massive vault, under the Vatican, that hides away the many secrets.
Yeah.
That's
Well, there was an Egyptian library that apparently it contained like thousands of years of knowledge of human like intelligence and what we've done for thousands of years, and the Romans burnt it and stole a lot of it and just destroyed it all, and then took a lot of it, and it's all hidden in a lot of it's hidden in the Vatican now. That's one theory. Boo.
Batman says he's never heard of that.
Library of Alexandria. It was meant to be one of the largest and most significant libraries of the ancient world. Yeah.
But there's a library, in London?
No, this was it was in Egypt.
Oh, in Egypt.
Yeah. The Romans basically destroyed it when they invaded Egypt, like 2,000 years ago or whatever. Yeah, that's it, Miss J. It basically vanished, and then they created Christianity from that. Created the story of Jesus and burnt down that around the time of Cleopatra. Yeah, I think she was a queen of one of the last few queens of Egypt. That's a show we could do, Egypt and the pyramids, because I love that shit. I could go on all night about that.
That would get involved in next week's, I suppose.
Yeah.
Next week's live.
It is weird how that in the three cities, the Vatican, DC, and London, it was all Masons, actually, Freemasons that built all these like buildings that were sort of honors to the Egyptians and the sun god, and yeah, and these obelisks. And
We just need to all wake up, just live our lives as what we're supposed to do here on this planet. Just do what the animals do, They're the example.
it's a hard like system that's been there for thousands of years, man. You can't. I don't know. It's hard. You can't like try and burn the system down because then you get put in a maximum security prison for the rest of your life for being a terrorist. You can't like set up political groups because they just get infiltrated. You can't set up like protest movements because that's the same. They just get infiltrated and yeah. So what do? You try and live off grid, and you know that's expensive.
What is it expensive?
No, to set up it's not. To set up it is, and then after that it's not. I suppose depends what you want to do. If you can live without electricity and the internet and all that, then it don't really cost that much money, really, to live off grid. But most people want like the mod, sort of, to at least have a little bit of a modern life. I would anyway, if I lived off grid properly.
Yeah,
I
if
still
I
would
was
like
off grid,
the internet to be able to chat to everyone and find
yeah,
information out.
yeah, I'd still have the internet for sure. The
Yeah.
internet, yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's digital now, so you need the internet.
Yeah, and that's what one of the World Economic Forum things is, driving these sort of mass sort of what they called cities, smart cities, where everyone's connected to their mobiles, or by then it will probably be like for your brain or whatever.
Well, not just smart cities, but now virtual cities. You know, you get plugged in and you spend your whole day in a virtual city.
Yeah, there's that as well. That would be another aspect.
Yeah, soon you'll be able to work in the virtual reality. You know.
Oh, the people already are. People are already making money out of that shit. I saw a program, a little documentary the other day. Some kid, he designed a sword online and then he sold it and got loads of money for it. Can't remember how much, but it was a few thousand.
If I had a job offer and it was virtual reality, and they said we'll give you exactly the same amount that you get paid now, I'll be like, all right, I'll do that all day. Just sit down with goggles on my face for 12 hours. You know, of course I'll do that. Then instead of going for 12 hours, slaving away, you know, busting up my back and my body.
Yeah, fuck that. It sounds like Bruce Willis, The Surrogate, where everyone just stays at home and then they send their surrogate out to do the work.
Oh yes, yeah.
That's
Wow.
quite a good film.
What's that called?
And then the whole system gets destroyed and everyone just comes out their house like for the first time in years. And surrogate, innit? Surrogates.
Right. Yeah, that is good.
Bruce Willis.
Yeah, I've always said, but this is totally off topic. But regards to technology, you know, and robots. If there was a technology where people were cutting their heads off and sticking it on a robot, you know, I would do that. Wouldn't you?
Nah.
No.
Nah.
And it worked though.
I think we was having this chat the other day, me, you, Miss J, and a few others. And I was saying I just want to like die as a gracefully old human or whatever. Non like updated human. Like I don't care if I And then I was saying, like, in the future, it will come a point where sort of updated humans will be competing with the updated humans for jobs and shit. It's like, yeah, fuck that.
I don't know, man. I'll do.
Like the
like
Neuralink, Elon Musk Neuralink and shit. People will have like
No.
updated parts of their brain that other people haven't got.
No, well, that won't keep you alive for 500 years. You know.
That what?
That having a chip in your brain won't make you
Live longer.
live longer.
No, I don't think. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think us peasants will ever find out about living forever.
No, you see how the body ages. You know, this would be called old person old. At what you've seen a person at 100 years old. Sometimes
Yeah.
they can be really, if they're eating all the shit that we eat right now. Fuck, you know, is anyone gonna live up to 100 the way we're living now with all the
Yeah.
shit around us?
Look at the Queen, man. She's nearly 100 and she looks like, yeah, she looks old and that, but
Well,
I've seen 70-year-olds that look the same as her because she's had like a really nice life and ate the
okay,
best food. So
yeah, exactly,
she's a lot healthier.
Yeah, that's not this generation. That last generation.
I think apparently she's totally self-sustained. All her food, like they've got the Duchy of Cornwall and the Duchy of Lancaster, and they grow like all the food they need for the palaces that they own. And when they move about, they got one in Scotland, and then they move to Lancaster, and then they go back to London, and they move all their chefs and all their like gardeners with them, with her or whatever, when she moves. It's like a big operation. Yeah. So they're all self-sustained, all the rich. They've got their nice Dutchy standard food.
What is Buckingham Palace in the city of London?
No.
No.
That's in is it in the city of Westminster?
Right. Sure.
The city of Westminster was set up by Henry VIII. Or he tried to set it up, the city of Westminster, to try and compete with the city of London. But it didn't really work. That's why you got two cities inside the boroughs of London. It's weird. And it's why Westminster, like the control of the United Kingdom is in the city of Westminster. Because they can never call the whole, like, is it 20? How big is London? Is it like 100-mile radius or something? The whole thing. They can never call the whole thing like London, the city of London, because the square mile has the rights to that, and it chose not to expand beyond the walls, basically, and it will never. Well, it will try its best to never like expand beyond the walls. That's how I think that's how they keep their power, like their concentrated power, because no one can afford to move into that city and live there. Only the rich lords and, like you said, 30,000 people. It's not many, really.
$7,000.
7,000 live in the city of London. Wow. Yeah. And they'll be like really expensive. Like a one-bedroomed apartment would be like £1 million and stuff like that. Expensive places. And there's a lot of just outside the city, there's a lot of poor estates, like not far from Newham and all of like the East End of London. right on the doorstep.
That's all us peasants.
Yeah. And I think if they got rid of the City of London, they abolished it basically, and made the whole of the boroughs into one. It would. You've got that massive wealth divide. It would, like, close the wealth divide a lot, and there'd be a lot more funds freed up for the local areas, I suppose. Yeah, $1 million does sound cheap, but for a 1-bedroom, maybe. Yeah, probably more than that. Yeah. So that's another thing I was getting into with someone the other day. I was saying that, like, the UK or Great Britain, it's not a culture really. It's a sign. It's kind of like a fake culture that was created by probably the City of London. But yeah, it was. Whereas England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, they're proper cultures. You know, they've got their own languages and, like, hundreds of years of history behind them. Whereas the UK, it's kind of like a forced culture of just banding 4 countries together or breaking one of them up and making 5. What do you reckon about that? It's a tough subject, isn't it?
Yeah, I was thinking about Maria C said, I'm 13 minutes from Westminster, so I'm just thinking, how far could you be if she's 13 minutes away? And which direction? Obviously, it might not. Would it be the Hyde Park way? Oxford Circus sides, or the other side? Yeah, man. How is everybody in the chat? The link is there if anybody wants to join. We're gonna wrap it up soon. Another 10-15 minutes.
We should have I remember you was all talking about it. We should have a poker night one night. Where we all start off
now.
Yeah, you can if you want, but where you start it off.
The problem is, no, hold on, Age. The problem is, you have to share it because I can't screen share. But if you share it,
I'll do
it, hold on. If you share it, everyone's gonna be able to see your cards.
Yeah, and then you can look.
No, I could, but I won't, obviously.
That's a good point, though. How would you get around that problem? For, like, if we ever wanted to play it in the future, whoever's hosting it can't be playing.
How do we do that?
I know Hyde Park's part of the City of London, City of Westminster, isn't it?
You got to have
like the Royal Estate. What's that?
I think you got to have 2 devices. We've got to try it next time. If I knew right now, I'll do it. Maria C must live at Buckingham Palace. Yes. With those traffic lights there, it will take you about 13 minutes to get to Westminster. The station.
So does I reckon, does people support a monarchy or is against a monarchy? Or will that, because I reckon that question will be coming up soon when the Queen dies. A lot of people will be, I don't know.
It's just
They
gonna
don't want
go
Prince
on.
Charles, do they? Do you
No,
think
it's
that?
just gonna go on. It's just
Yeah.
gonna go on. You know, there's no bad guys. You know, there's not. Well, there's Harry. You know, he can go in and bash the door down when the Queen dies. You know, bash the door down and say, Prince Charles, Dad, I'm gonna become king, and there's nothing you can do about it. You know.
Can't do that.
Well, it's been done. It's been done before. You know. Why can't it happen again?
Because back then they had armies and shit, and I just can't see like Harry getting an army and like walking onto London. That would be funny though. That would be funny.
With all the
Like
secrets that they got hidden from the public, that's how he can get them. You know? And what about this Epstein's Island? You know, who's been prosecuted? Nobody.
Yeah. None of them.
Has Harry been to that island before? You know, maybe when he was younger. Who knows?
I haven't got a foggiest.
So I guessed it right, Age. She lives in Buckingham Palace, just outside. You
Who?
know, Maria C.
In Buckingham Palace.
I think she's one of the caretakers, you know, that lives just outside the palace.
Yeah. Protected by the beefeaters.
Don't believe a word I say, guys. But those traffic lights do take ages to change outside Buckingham Palace.
Oh, what was it? I figured out the other day that it would be Charles III, William IV, and George V. I think, if it goes in line, so it goes like 4th, 5th, 6th. Figure it out.
But the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, that only started like 100 years ago. Before that, not 100 years ago, like yeah, like two, 3 royal before the one now.
Yeah.
Before that, they weren't doing that. You know, it was King the Third and then King the Third again, or whatever. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember it now. It was Charles IV, William V, and George VI. Who's going to be next in line? If it happens, like. Yeah, man. How long we've been going for? An hour and 40. Wow. That's all right. After at least there's been no dramas here and shit. I ain't seen no dramas.
Yeah, any drama, or especially on the panel, I would immediately remove off the stream. You know, in the chat, I'll let the mods decide what to do. Yeah. Whereas under a blood red sky, he knows what to do.
Do you think we'll have problems like the farmers have been having in Holland and Germany? Like their governments have been cutting fertilizers and stuff like that because they're saying it's bad for carbon emissions. That's why all
I
the
don't know.
farmers are protesting.
Wales the other day put the speed limit down from, was it 40 miles an hour or 30 miles an hour to 20 miles an hour. They want to reduce the rate of drivers on the road. So they want to stop people from driving because of the decrease of the speed limit. That's not really, and probably England will do that soon as well. Well, they did say by, what is it, 2040 or something like that they're going to stop all petrol and diesel cars.
Yeah.
What is it going to be? Is it they're going to stop selling them, and until they break down? Once they've broken down and they're unrepairable, then you're going to have to scrap them.
It's like a whole massive command economy that they're just driving and changing like industries to all these electric cars and trucks or whatever. But it's not going to really change much, really. It's just going to make people richer.
Well, no. If everybody switches over to electric, with your petrol cars, you know, petrol will be really cheap then because no one's using it.
Yeah.
So then, I think you need to take care of your cars now so that when it comes into place and they say you're allowed to use your car, but once it breaks down, that's it. Your new model is going to be an electric car.
Yeah. Yeah, there will come a point. But when they build new houses and stuff, they don't put solar panels on it, do they? Or make them self-sustainable, which they should do if they're going to make vehicles green.
Well, China has released a solar-powered car, a vehicle, family, 4 doors, 5 doors. Yes, but the only problem is you need the sunlight, otherwise, car doesn't work.
Do you think that a lot of hyperloops will be opening up as well? They're saying that a lot of big cities are going to have them soon.
But what they're going to do, they're just going to be for traffic, really.
No, hyperloops is where it's like you get on it and it's just air, compressed air, and it pushes you through this tube really fast. So you can get from one place to another like really quick.
All right.
That's one thing. Also, they'll build tunnels under the cities for roads. They'll start doing that, yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose we live in like exciting times as well as gloomy times. You got to look at it that way. I mean, there's parts of China where one day it's like a village, and then 10 years later it's like a mega city with 5G, like
Saudi
powered
Arabia.
smart cities and shit. And Saudi Arabia, yeah. It's because they've got the resources and the men to like, or men and women, or the workers, the manpower they call it, I suppose, to drive all these industries. Whereas in the UK, it's just become a service nation where, yeah, we haven't got the resources and we're just servicing other countries, and yeah, that's about it, really. Finance is the kingpin in this country. What's it now?
Yeah, all about money, innit? Money,
Yeah.
trade, money. Trading as well. I don't understand the traders in London. They trade if they think company's going down, or if they think the company's going up.
Yeah.
Really
The
risky.
stock exchange.
The stock exchange, exactly. Leah says Saudi Arabia could be the end of Israel if they continue to divert the water to build themselves a mini Dubai.
Maybe. I think the next big war is going to be Iran. Israel backed by America, maybe.
I don't know. Israel, what does the Christian or the Jewish faith say? The Antichrist. Jesus is going to come and smite everybody that's outside of Israel. We should be worried about Israel.
Don't know.
I think Israel are going to be the ones that are going to press the nuclear button first. Well, that's my opinion.
I know that Joe Biden's around the Middle East at the moment and sort of North Africa, and they're trying to set up a NATO, but they call it West Asian NATO. They want to set up. So you'll have Israel and Egypt like on the same team, which is mad to think about.
It doesn't matter where Biden is, he has lost his mind.
Oh yeah, I don't think he really had it at the start.
All right, man. I think it's coming to an end now. What do you think, Age?
Yeah, definitely, man. It's
Yeah.
been good, y'all. I'll have to do the same next week on other subjects. Freemasonry in here,
Yeah, man, we do that same time next week.
get other people to come on again.
I'll try and not be late this time.
Yeah.
I always say that, but I'm always late. Yeah, so next week, me and Age Case again, same time, 9:15, 9:20, Thursday. Today's Thursday, yeah. Yeah. So fantastic, everybody. I hope we've shown and you've heard a few new things. Now you can go and do your own research.
Yeah.
And in the future, and enjoy the sun. Yeah, I was gonna say, and in the future, I'm gonna go to all of these again. To these pillars, dragon pillars in London. Next time I'm there, look out for them.
Yeah. Yeah, do, man.
All right, then, Age, thank you for joining today. Thank you to everybody as well in the chat. Any mods in the chat, please share AgeCase's channel, please. Let's get him to 1,000 subscribers.
Oh, I'll share it quick if you want.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's 18 people. That's 18 more, closer. And he's got some brilliant stuff on there.
I haven't made much stuff. It's been too hot in the last few weeks. So, but yeah, I suppose I'll get on some stuff in a bit. And we'll do some more of these shows and get more people involved and have a learn, break some things down on that. I could have gone on about this subject all night. There's so much to go through, and documents that I found and that, but it's just a long one and a long subject. They all are, really. You could spend days on anything,
Yeah, man. You can go on for days. I know. Yeah. Well, we'll leave it for next week.
Yeah.
So next week is Freemasonry. So we'll all catch you again next week at around the 9 o'clock mark. So thanks everybody for joining and listening and taking part. And we'll see you again soon.
See you again. Peace.
Peace, love, and light.